This has really been a crap week in hockey out here. I'm talking about the Ducks, and we're also talking about the Gulls. Anaheim Ducks finished the season with 23 wins, worst metrics in the league defensively, offensively. Felt bad for their superstar goaltender, John Gibson, who got bombarded with shots, and they took out the coach, Dallas Eakins. I like Dallas. Great job in the American Hockey League. He's been put in two very untenable situations. Went to the Edmonton Oilers, where they had all these young draft picks and said, play them. You can't play 20 and 21 and 22-year-old guys and think you can survive in the NHL. He lost his job a year and a half in. Came to San Diego. He was the first coach of the AHL Gulls. Did a great job. Had a good group of young players, too. Goes to Anaheim when they make a coaching change. Brings in unique philosophy, teaching players about being not only a player, but being a man, being responsible, training, intellectual thinking guy. I don't know if he's a good NHL coach because the record says you were 100 and 144 and 44 in Anaheim. I do know from the players I spoke to that he had great success in Toronto with the Marlies in the American League and had great success here. I hope he resurfaces. If it was bad there, it was even worse here. San Diego Gulls. And this is all in direct correlation because the Ducks run the Gulls franchise. No players to speak of. They develop good goaltending. Very good goaltender in Lucas Dostal. Nothing else on the roster. What bothers me the most is the new GM of the Ducks, Pat Verbeek, came in. He took all the Gulls young players and took them to Anaheim. They force-fed them. Bad season there. Nothing back here. How bad was it? By the time they got to the trading deadline, the Ducks started shipping out the Gulls players that were on the AHL roster and got them off the roster and got other guys in, try to make the product more competitive. Didn't work. They won 20 games. 20, 49, and 3. All-time worst Gulls record. So I lay this not so much on the first-year coach here, Roy Sommer, who's had a great career in the American League, and he's just stepped down. He's leaving and retiring. I lay it at the front door, Pat Verbeek. That's your franchise in Anaheim. This is your mess you created down here. And what really bothers me, this is a great hockey town. John, the first group of years for the Gulls, they'd sell out Saturday night, hockey night, Friday night, hockey night. Right after Christmas, they'd start drawing 11,000 and 12,000 every home game. Now they're good product on the ice. And it's gone. The electricity is gone. Of course, they left here. They played a year during COVID up in Anaheim. There were no fans at games. That hurt them. Bad product a year ago, worst product this year. They're drawing 4,100 and 5,000 where they used to draw 11,000 and 12,000 after Christmas. So I'm hoping that this is a one-off down here for the Gulls. And the Ducks are in the lottery. They're going to get an access to either the first or second best players. But those guys aren't coming here because they're too young. You can't play in the American League unless you're 20, and they're drafting 18 and 19-year-olds, which means they stay in college or they stay in junior. So Pat Verbeek's got his hands full. He's got to improve the Ducks. He does have lottery picks. He does have a huge amount of money in the salary cap, like $30 million. So they should be able to flip that with all the young guys who've already got there. But they're going to have to go find players here to rally this thing because they wrecked the franchise down here. Major market like San Diego should not be drawing 4,100 for a hockey team. And so Verbeek owes the city of San Diego. He needs to do better to fix the mess that he created here. And I don't blame the president, Matt Savant. I don't blame the general manager, Bob Ferguson. You can only use what they send you, and what they sent was terrible. I'm sorry, I've just hit the hot button of a lot of hockey fans, but that's what I think. And what really pisses people off is the Ducks are sitting here with this mess, and across the street, the Kings are playing Edmonton in the playoffs, and the Kings are one of the hottest, scariest teams in the league. Oh, boy.
Well, they've got to rebuild the whole franchise. I mean, the whole organization. So how many levels of minor league are there? Is it similar to baseball?
No, there's the NHL. Everybody has an American League team. There's a second league called the East Coast Hockey League, which is like a AA level. But there are very few guys that come out of the E that go to the A that wind up in the NHL. But everybody has the same number of players on the contract. The question is, what do you do with the guys at the minor league level. If you can't play, and I wrote a column about this, if you can't score goals in the American League and you've been here a couple of years, what makes you think you can help the Anaheim Ducks? They had half the roster couldn't score goals. And I kept turning to myself because I follow all these games. Why are these guys in San Diego? Why are these guys on pro contracts? You got guys that play 52 games that scored 2 goals, and they're on your second, third, or fourth line in San Diego. Why is it like this? I hold Pat Verbeek accountable, and he had a great career as a player, and he learned from a really good general manager in Stevie Yzerman in Tampa and Detroit. He's got to do better here, and he owes it to this community to fix this Gulls franchise.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great hockey fans here. I mean, when I've gone to the Gulls games, I mean, it's amazing how many people show up with their gear. They're all in on the Gulls, and to see this thing sort of deteriorate is so sad. I mean, especially when they're talking about maybe building a new sports arena. I mean, there's a lot of potential here in San Diego.
Big market. Like I said, they led the American League in attendance 2 years ago before COVID shut them down, and they were second 3 years ago. And when you start drawing 8,000 to 9,000 or 11,000 or 12,000, you generate a lot of profit for the big clubs. So